Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, Kingston man charged with housebreaking and larceny. The Clarendon police have charged 36-year-old John Edwards of Quarry Path, Kingston 11, with housebreaking and larceny committed in Clarendon on January 24. The Mapen police say about 1:30 p.m. a woman locked her house in Toby Heights, Clarendon, and left. Upon her return, she realized that the house was broken into. She then made checks and discovered that several items such as a television set, other electronic devices, personal items, and the cash were missing. A report was made to the police and an investigation was carried out. During the investigation, Edwards was arrested. He was charged on Saturday after he was interviewed by the police. The police say his court date has not yet been finalized. Some roadways are flooded by Monday afternoon rain in Spanish Town. Heavy rainfall in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, resulted in the flooding of several roadways on Monday afternoon. Along sections of Brunswick Avenue, several vehicles stalled in the torrential rain, which overwhelmed the road and the drainage system. Flood waters caused the vehicle to crash at McCoy Lands along the corridor. Many vehicles diverted, while others tried to navigate the single-lane access, which resulted from flooding of one side of the road. Areas such as St. John's Road and the Job Lane were also inundated by rain. Police constable arrested, illegal gun seized. A police constable attached to the St. Mary Police Division has been arrested after he was allegedly caught with an illegal gun in Kingston on Sunday. The 28-year-old is charged with suspicion of possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition. Reports are that about 12:01 a.m., the police conducted a stop and a search operation in Denham Town, and the suspect was held with an S&W40 pistol affixed with a magazine containing 12 rounds of cartridges. The Denham Town Criminal Investigations Branch is probing the matter. Fire chief denies the claims of slow response to downtown Kingston blaze. Commissioner of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Stuart Beckford, is taking issue with the statements by residents following Monday's blaze at the intersection of Charles Street and Luke Lane in downtown Kingston. Fire victim Annette Wright claimed that a fire truck had to be sourced from St. Thomas to fight the blaze, and that when the truck turned up, it had no water. Additionally, she said when assistance was sought, they were told that there was no truck available to fight the fire. Commissioner Beckford denied the claims, said the firefighters responded as soon as they were alerted. He said that the team was assisted by a unit from the Rollington Town Station, which had initially gone to the Bellevue Hospital for what turned out to be a prank call.
The truth of the matter is that we did not get a phone call for this fire from a citizen about this fire. It is a police patrol vehicle that drove into the York Park fire station at 8:54 a.m. and reported the fire. We immediately dispatched the Trenchtown unit, and it took them approximately 5 minutes from the time we alerted the station and for them to leave the station. It took them approximately 5 minutes to get to the location with a full tank of water. We haven't seen the level of smoke coming from the area. We didn't wait on Trenchtown to call for assistance. We turned out a tanker, that is a water tender, with a tank capacity of 10,000 liters of water to lend support to the Trenchtown unit. So at no time did we resort to calling a unit from St. Thomas, because we have additional units in Kingston that we didn't need to turn out, because what was there at that time, we had 4 firefighting, 3 pumpers and a water tender on location. We will never turn up at a fire scene without water in our tanks. Every pumper that turns up at a fire scene carries a capacity of 3,800 liters of water and 200 liters of foam. If we are pumping, for example, at 100 pounds per square inch, that 4,000 liters can be pumped out in less than 5 minutes. And that is why we rely so heavily on the hydrant network across the country, because we may need to pump at high pressure for an extended period of time. When we got to the area, we identify an hydrant which was in close proximity. Based on that hydrant, it shows that the pressure there was very low. But water wasn't an issue.
Alleged gangster charged for attack on woman in Kingston Western. Detectives assigned to the Kingston Western Police Division have laid charges against an accused gang member for a gun attack on a woman in the division last year. 31-year-old Kimoy Shea, otherwise called Kimmy, of Wellington Road, Kingston 13, has been charged with shooting with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, using a firearm to commit a felony, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and being part of a criminal organization. The attack occurred on Sunday, March 17 last year on Raphael Road, Kingston 13. Investigators had reported that about 10:40 p.m., the complainant was at her father's house when the accused and 7 other armed men approached her, seeking to know the whereabouts of her father. The men then set fire to a parked motor vehicle at the premises. The complainant ran in a bid to escape. She was chased by the accused and his accomplices, who fired at her as she ran. The accused and his accomplices then picked up spent casings from the scene and escaped on foot in the area. Following investigations, the accused was arrested and charged. JFJ to press for police accountability during today's protest. The protest planned for today by the human rights lobby group Jamaicans for Justice is being characterized by the group to highlight the need for accountability within the police force. Protesters and the members of the public are being asked to wear black. Executive Director of JFJ, Michael Jackson, stressed that it was intended to emphasize the need for the increased deployment of body-worn cameras by the police. She expressed disappointment at the call by Government Senator Marlon Morgan for members of the public to wear blue in support of the police. She argued that Mr. Morgan's stance sought to pit one side against the other, risking further unnecessary division. The JFJ head is asserting that it is possible for civilians to support the police and still call for greater accountability.
We want to emphasize that this is not an anti-police protest. This is a protest that is pro-accountability and pro-human rights. We want to urge those who are wearing blue, as you have your freedom of choice to do, that you can also join the call for increased resources to support the wearing of the body-worn cameras, and also make a similar reasonable call for a clear, expedited timeline for body-worn camera implementation, in particular the timeline for when the data storage infrastructure will be in place to ensure that the JSAFE has the support to manage those increased body-worn cameras. Again, this is not a JFJ versus JSAFE issue. JFJ is actually quite supportive of law enforcement officers.
Cops released sketches of men wanted for rape, murder, and other serious crimes in St. James. Detectives assigned to the St. James Police Division have released composite sketches of 3 suspects who are wanted for a series of crimes, including abduction, rape, grievous sexual assault, burglary, and unlawful wounding in and around the St. James. Police said the first suspect reportedly committed his crime on Sunday, January 26 at the Catherine Hall Stadium, Montego Bay. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of this man is being asked to contact the Montego Bay CIB at 876-953-6591, Crime Stop at the 311, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. In another case, the detectives created a sketch of another suspect who is wanted for possession of prohibited weapon in relation to an incident on Friday, July 5, 2024 at the Catherine Hall in the parish. Anyone with information on this man's whereabouts is asked to contact the Montego Bay CIB at 876-953-6591, Crime Stop at 311, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. The detectives also created a composite sketch of another suspect who is wanted for rape and robbery with aggravation in relation to an incident that occurred at the Walter Fletcher Beach, Montego Bay in the parish on Wednesday, March 5. Anyone with information that can assist the police in capturing this man is being asked to contact the Montego Bay CIB at 876-953-6591, Crime Stop at 311, the 119 police emergency number, or the nearest police station. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.